So years ago, when I was stationed at Pendleton, on Sundays, I'd meet up with a group of guys and we would go ride. At the time, I had a Triumph Sprint ST, but the other guys in my group had a variety of motorcycles, including BMWs, Kawasaki's, Suzuki's, and of course, Harleys. We normally start in Oceanside, then head out east towards Palomar Mountain, and then head north to Lake Elsinore. Now, by early afternoon, we'd usually find a roadside bar and grill and hang out there for a couple hours. Now, we were all in shape, decent looking guys, but none of us really were head turners. Now, there was a guy in our group, a little bit older, Will. He'd been losing his hair, he'd recently shaved his head, and he was straight up, his outfit showed that he fully embraced the whole Harley-Davidson look. From the jacket to the chaps to the skid lid. Well, in any case, if I would have rated all five of the guys there, I probably would have put him dead last in terms of attraction levels. And it seemed like every other time we stopped at some place, some woman was trying to pick him up. In fact, I remember this one instance, we were all sitting, we had been there like 10 minutes, and some woman comes up behind him and puts her hands on his bald head. We all thought she knew him. Will just smiled, turned around, and then she said, "I just love a man with a bald head." Now, apparently she'd had a couple drinks, her friends over at the other table apologized, and even though nothing came of it, it highlights a very important point I want to make. When it comes to attraction, it's better to have an extreme style that people either love or hate. I used to have a friend that dyed his hair silver, which may seem kind of odd to a lot of people. To certain women, these extreme styles are an aphrodisiac. No, what's going to get somebody to walk across the room and start talking with you is when you look the part of the extreme that they love. My point here, gents, if you want to be attractive, find your personal style and embrace your personal extreme. Because unless you've got rugged good looks like a model, your best bet is to stand out from the crowd by playing to your strengths. And gents, what I love about this point is it also works with online dating. One of the founders of OkCupid, Christian Rudder, who did all this research, he found people with extreme looks had polarizing ratings, meaning they had a lot of people that did not like their look, but they also had at least a small number of people that absolutely loved their looks. So don't be afraid, gents, to highlight your unique features and lean into them. In today's video, gents, we're talking about how to be attractive without good looks. The next tip, understand that first impressions are for amateurs. Now, gents, I'm not saying first impressions aren't important, but I am saying that they oftentimes can be wrong, especially when it comes to finding someone attractive. And I'll illustrate this with a study done at the University of Texas, where a professor on the first day of his class has his students rate each other on attraction levels. Now, these students, not knowing each other, they base the attraction levels based off of the averages in society. So the person with the natural good looks, whether it's a man or a woman, is usually ranked number one. And we see the results were pretty uniform. But 3 months later, after the students had gotten to know each other, they again performed the ranking. The results? The most attractive people were all over the board. Now, this study has been repeated multiple times, and what they conclude is this. When we know very little about somebody, we base our attraction on pretty much looks alone. But once we've gotten to know somebody, all of a sudden our rating of attraction changes because we can bring in other factors. So, how to use this in the real world? Well, before shooting your shot with a stranger, actually maybe get to know the person a little bit. Being respectful of boundaries, knowing that she has to be nice to you, it's her job, but really seeing, is this someone that I'm actually interested in? Now, how to apply this in the real world? Well, if you got a colleague that you're really into, maybe hold back for a while on expressing that romantic interest and actually just get to know her as a person. You may find out really quickly she's still emotionally attached to her last boyfriend. She also hates dogs, doesn't like to go hiking, and those are things that are big in your life. So yeah, this one right here may even help you dodge a bullet. The next tip to be attractive without good looks, work on your sense of humor. So I remember growing up, there was a kid I really admired. His name was Richard Martin, and he was just the funniest kid ever. He had the driest sense of humor, and he would just say things that weren't crude, didn't insult anybody, but they were just funnier than heck. Growing up, I read a lot of comics. I was a big fan of The Far Side, and I started to develop a really dry sense of humor. And what I learned in college and beyond is if you can make people laugh, you can relax them. You can all of a sudden become part of their circle. All of a sudden, they like you more when you make them smile. Now, when it comes to humor, it's important to understand there are all different types, but you want to avoid low humor. High humor is what people and women in general find attractive. Now, low humor is going to be physical humor. It's going to be crude. High humor does take a little bit more work, and it does require a bit of intelligence. So if you're a pretty smart guy, you should be able to pick up and develop high humor rather quickly. And that's why a lot of women find it attractive, is it is a subtle sign that this person is relatively smart. Next up, have a swagger like Jagger. Seriously, gents, when a rock star enters a room, he expects the entire room to turn around and look at him. When you enter a room, don't be surprised when people look at you and just take it in, expect it, walk in with confidence. Now, you do this first by embracing your own personal style. I sort of talked about it in point number 1, but I want to elaborate on this because this doesn't, if you are around people that dress down, but you like to dress up a bit, or if you really have a casual style that, goes more towards collar, a little bit preppier, whatever it is, guys, embrace that look if it makes you feel good and practice putting together those outfits and know which outfits, which colors, which particular styles complement you, complement your build, complement your colors. Because when you know this, when you feel good, you're going to be able to walk with confidence, and that right there is something women and other men pick up on. Now, what if you walk into the place and you don't know anybody? How can you be confident? Well, go walk up to the bartender, walk up to the host, walk up to whoever looks like they're in charge and introduce yourself. Or whenever you're getting a drink, introduce yourself. Yes, he's the man back there serving drinks, but you know what? You know his name and you've started with one. And it's about putting in those reps. It's about simply asking him, hey, what's going on tonight? I see there's a lot of people here. Maybe he gives you the name of the band, maybe the guy that's here celebrating his birthday. In any case, all of a sudden you've got information. You can survey the room. You've got your drink, you're holding up the bar, and then you can plan your next move or just start talking to the guy next to you. Now, straight up, gents, a real power move when you show up to a place is to not show up alone. Human beings are designed to be a little bit suspicious of people that are off by their lonesome. I know some of us like to think of ourselves as lone wolves, but the reality is lone wolves are suspicious. Now, if you show up with a couple other dudes, that's great. You're going to be able to have a conversation. But if you really want to supercharge this, show up with a couple other women. And these can just simply be your friends. But here's the deal. Other women are going to notice when a guy shows up with a woman, with a couple other women, because they're interested. Okay, these women approve of this guy. Who is this guy? Instantly, your attraction levels shoot up. Gents, if you want to step up your style efficiently and effectively, look for a proven path. A curriculum that saves you from confusion, from bad information, from crappy teachers. You want to make sure that you're not just learning facts, but you actually are being shown concepts. Lessons that give you foundations. They give you the fundamentals to be able to dress sharp in any situation. It's also great if you can surround yourself with like-minded men, because how many times have you tried to learn something and there are other people that don't want to be there, they're distracting you, or worse, they're tempting you to go do something else. Which is why, gents, I wanted to show you this. My new free group for you that not only has instruction, but an amazing community that is distraction free. It's got a great app. And did I say it's free? Guys, I developed this for you. Finally, I found a platform that makes this so simple, so easy, and so effective for you to be able to step up your style. Seriously, gents, I've got courses in this community that I used to sell. You can get for free. I've set up prizes. I've gamified it. Guys, I'm going to link to it down in the description. Or if you just want to go over to the URL, it's at school.com/RMRS. This group is free, although you do have to answer 3 questions. I don't ask for your email address. I simply want to make sure that we keep spammers out of the group. It's a high quality group. It's an amazing community that I am proud to give to you guys. Now, what about eye contact? So this is something I think, especially for the younger generation, you guys need to work on. And I get it. You just don't go out as often. And it can be a little bit, startling when you're looking across the room and a stranger makes eye contact with you. My advice here is just get good at smiling. Now, if it's a guy across the room and if you're heterosexual, you probably don't want to give it too much of a smile. Just maybe give a quick nod and keep going. But if it's a woman, especially one that you find attractive, quickly give a smile. And you want to give a real smile, not a fake one. People can tell. And the difference is you want to smile with your eyes. Whenever it's a fake smile, whenever it's a real smile, all of a sudden around your eyes, it wrinkles up. This is actually called a smize. Basically, the art of smiling with your eyes, and it's the way that human beings were kind of rigged to be able to tell when something's real versus when something's fake. Now, let's say you've introduced yourself. You're talking with people. How do you really connect? One of the best ways is with a quick story. Now, the key with a good story is for it to be short, appropriate, and preferably funny. If you're going out a lot, meeting people, it's great to have a few of these in your back pocket that you can pull out that are tested, are going to get some laughs, and paint you in a good light. Now, if humor or stories aren't your thing, don't be afraid to share your passions, or even better, to ask people about theirs. Because here's the thing, when people start talking about something that they love, they associate the feeling of their love for that with you. So if she's all about travel, she just got back from Thailand, and she wants to tell you about all her adventures in Thailand, go ahead and listen. Now, if you've been to the land of smiles, spent some time up in Chiang Mai, then yeah, you could go ahead and go back and forth with the conversation, but don't be afraid to let somebody talk, because then they're going to assume you're a great listener, which is another tactic to make yourself come off as more attractive. Now, the key to being a good listener, gentlemen, is not just zoning out, which some guys do, or waiting for their turn to speak. No, what you want to do is actually go back and ask some detailed questions based off of what this person was saying, and it's okay to interrupt them and say, hey, can you clarify, help me understand, what do you mean by this? Tell me more about this point. I personally love that tactic because sometimes people can drone on, or they can take it in a direction you didn't expect, but you can always bring it back by simply asking them to go down this path with their conversation. And I've never had anyone have an issue with this, because what they notice is, hey, he's actually listening to what I'm saying, and oh, of course I want to talk about this other avenue, this other path. The reality is a lot of people are starving for attention. They're starving to be able to share what they've accomplished, these stories that they've got with somebody else. And whenever they find a great listener, oh, they love it. And again, you're paying attention because you're also trying to make a determination. Am I attracted to this person? Is this going to just be a friend? Do I want to friend zone her because of all the stuff she's telling me? Yeah, it's probably a little bit too much. Because guys, don't forget, one thing I do kind of like about the red pill space is that they make this point that the man is the prize. Gents, if you've been working on yourself, if you are a great guy, you deserve a great person in your life. So don't be afraid to hold out and to really view yourself as interviewing other people, and don't just take whatever comes your way. Now, the next tip to be attractive, even if you don't have good looks, is to show that, hey, I've got other options. So I know for me, when I used to show up at a party, I would pick out one girl that I found attractive, and I would just focus in on her and pretty much ignore all the other people at the party. Yes, I'm sorry to say I was that guy, and most of the time it didn't work out. Because here's the deal, if you're an attractive woman, you've got a lot of men approaching you. And the reality is, for a relationship to start, there needs to be interest on both sides. So the best way to increase your odds is to actually talk with a lot more people. And remember that point we made earlier about most first impressions are actually wrong? Well, guess what? This applies to you as well. That woman that you found reasonably attractive, guess what? When you start talking with her, when you realize you've got all this stuff in common, she's friggin' amazing. You love that she's in the Dungeons & Dragons and Star Wars. And she's got aspirations to be an attorney, and guess what? You like the law as well. All of a sudden you realize this is a match versus that other one that, yes, has the pretty face, but you can't carry a conversation with her to save your life. And again, as many of you guys know, the strange effect of this, when you're talking with other women and other women do see this, they notice this, they're like, this guy gets around. He knows a lot of people. He's pretty confident. They start to like you even more. So it may be something that one with the pretty face all of a sudden is wondering why you're not coming over to talk with her. And she comes over to talk with you when you're talking with the cool one, that's into Game of Thrones and all the other fun stuff. My point being, gents, is have fun. Social skills are something that you develop with practice. Yes, initially you're not that great, but you get better with time. And don't be afraid to throw yourself out there. Now, what about scent and attraction? Are there fragrances that are going to turn her head? You bet there are, guys. And I got you covered in this video right here. As you guys know, I love fragrance videos, and I go super deep on the sexiest fragrances out there that are guaranteed to turn her head. Guys, check out this video. Boom, right here. Yeah, you're going to like it.